would stay. Grenade.
Distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud.
Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, back to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue of the day. Today is after Pentecost. Pentecost is one of the most important periods in Christianity. In fact, it commemorates the descent of the Holy Spirit on the apostles and other disciples after the crucifixion, resurrection, and ascension of Christ. And that's when the church becomes a church. That's at that point the church becomes a church. That's when the Catholic Church starts. So it's a very important period. And Catholics all over the world and people who believe in the Pentecost should feel good today, feel empowered, feel renewed. Because the first time the people were called Christians is because people saw how they live. You say, look at them, how they live, how they love each other, how they're moving around. They say they must be Christ-like. So although sometimes we believe is how much Bible we carry on our head, how much jacket and tie, how much time we could swallow the scripture. But it is quite a lot how we practicalize that belief, how we live within the community. Nigerians are mourning. In St. Francis Church in Unu, over 50 persons were shot dead. The people went to church as usual to pray, to assemble, to receive the Holy Spirit, to commemorate the greatest period in Christian history. And they were shot down by gunmen. So you have an opportunity to give us a call. Yes, my brother. Welcome, sister, brother.
Afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, welcome.
On the day of Pentecost, fire fall on us.
Yes, man. And that is why the church, most of the members were red on that day.
I believe.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to all of the hardworking brothers and sisters who put on their harvest yesterday. I think it was good and a good activity. A time to commemorate, to congregate, to socialize, and to partake in the activities of the church. And at this time, I also want to say a special shout out to a good brother of ours. I understand he's here. This is a time when he always showcases talent Brother Dennis Bridgman. I know you're always locked in and listening. Thank you for continuing to support and to be a part of our community. Thank you for sharing us with your gift, your talent of, working with the mass and preparing the costume. Whatever you're going through, I know that God is, looking out upon you, and He will give you strength. Thanks that you can make the effort to be here. And thanks to the family and all those who continue to support you. And to the people of Parkleets, we say thank you for looking out for our brother. God bless you, Mr. Pierre, and have a great day.
Yes, my sister. That sister always bring out a soft side in me. Maybe not brother, sometimes this is what I consider real as practical help in a community. When individuals are known to identify with the community from day one, always involved, whether it is the community sad stories or their joys, they're always there with a good word, involving developmental projects, involving sport. When the community are sad, they are there and give their shoulders to cry on. Always offering a good word of advice and encouragement. And my sister complimenting our brother. And he was involved in the carnival activities from the onset. He's now seriously challenged, but he's back home, and we applaud him and appreciate him and love him. And this is why Christianity say, look at how they live. We are a small community in Grenada, just about 110,000 people. So, yes, we have a lot good going for us. We are very tolerant, very peaceful. We're in the height of an election, and things seems to be going very tolerant and very peaceful, although a lot of energy is involved. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Just a little reminder, you talk about the disciples there. I just want to remind you that they were first called disciples at Antioch in Syria.
At Antioch?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And where were they called Christians? Is it in Corinth? Oh, that caller gone. Yes, there was first called disciples at Antioch. A lot of informations. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Yeah, we lost that caller. Yeah. I know that we have the politics in Grenada is very ripe. We have to be very appreciative of our country, where peace reigns, where stability is the order of the day, where religious tolerance is smooth. You have activities where you have people from different religious groups participating. We don't have ethnic or religious or racial war in Grenada. Generally, most times we have a little bad behavior, But we live generally in peace. And yes, the politics is hot. And you may find as the countdown continue, people get a little warm up. But those on the sideline who are not directly involved in the politics must always be prepared to cool it down. Yes, caller, welcome. Caller, you could punch. Go right ahead, caller. Well, we either lost you or we're not making communication with your caller. Caller, are you there? It seems as though we lost this caller. You have to try again a bit, and please do not listen to your radio when you're calling, because they might be you will respond later. Somebody on Facebook calling from Carrico. Good afternoon, and listeners, viewers of On Target, and she from the Sisters of Carrico and Pity Matnik, and we welcome you. We have one Grenada, and we are a small country. Countries are asking for unity. In CARICOM is about 7 to 9 million people, I believe. Small islands, we need to work together, to work closer together in unity. And all the people from the parish should work together. I have special love for CARICO. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. I believe we lost this caller. Hello? Yes, caller. All right, we got through with others, so please try again. The number to call is 4420175, and we are on Real FM, Boss FM, CRFM in Carriacou, and on Facebook page, my Facebook page, and also on Real FM Facebook page. In Carriacou, they use green corn, and they make bakes with green corn. This cultural practice must spread more in Grenada. More people must use green corn to make bakes. They use the corn flour and they roll it into bars and they cuckoo. And it tastes good. Everybody that tastes this food say it tastes good. So that practice must spread. We don't have to see things in New York City for it to spread. Whatever is good in one parish, we should adopt it. There's some very good practice. I like the cake dance. Yeah, nothing about whining or dancing in politics again, you know. All politicians in Grenada dancing. Well, from ever since, it's only Mr. Blaze, I believe, that I never heard shake a leg. But Eric Gary liked to dance. And he had some hot tunes. And Nadia Benjamin and Whipple Ned used to take it away. They shaking a leg. All politicians in Grenada like to dance. Dr. Kit Mitchell liked the exercise wine. Every time you see him, he's exercising. And he turned it into his own dance. Well, we have a brother from St. Patrick's. Nobody can beat Bellows. This is a unique one. But all politicians, even Bayer, they helping Mr. Tillman Thomas to dance. So Grenadian politicians like dance. So forget the story about who dancing and who don't dancing. Forget that. All politicians in Grenada dancing. And that is important. What we must take from it is the joy. The positives we must look and take from these activities. The unity, the peace, irrespective of the fact that the election is hot. We generally do not have any problems. You may have one or two incidents here and there as the heat rise up, but it depends on people around to cool it down. And it's nice to see when you have the opportunity with the NDC and the NNP, particularly during the time of nomination, is passing around the hailing one another or taking pictures with one another. And the political parties must encourage that. I know sometimes when you're speaking, your mouth runs faster than your brain. And you may make, they call it political bloomers or blotters or what you call it. You make little mistakes. But these things happen on both sides. So we must encourage the media and other radio personalities to encourage our people to maintain peace, maintain a sense of tranquility, and remember, on the 24th, irrespective of who wins this election, we have to function in peace and unity. Both sides seem to be very confident that they will win. Well, there are only 15 seats to share. So both sides can win 15 seats. It's a fact. Both sides cannot win 15 seats. So we're going to have a winner and we're going to have a loser because we have odd numbers. I think in Trinidad, they had 30 seats, and some countries normally change this thing. You don't want an even seat. You don't want government tie. You want to have a decisive victory. So in Grenada, we will have one. The electoral process in Grenada is free, it is fair, and it is free from fear. Some of the utterances and expressions that you hear sometimes is unfortunate, but you will hear them. You have the voters list outside now, and you had 7 days since the list was posted to go and look on the list for mistakes, blunders, irregularities that the necessary corrections could be made. You have to go to the electoral office, the returning officer, these people. After 7 days, when the final list is posted, wait after election and go to vote. Don't waste no time talking about it. There are some utterances I hear of people living in one parish, in one constituency, and voting in the next constituency. Well, I honestly believe if you go through the whole country, you may find incidents like that. Some people might be living by their mother, but when they walk in town, they're living by their sister. So they don't change their home address because they come home every weekend. And if you ask them where they live in, they will tell you, I live in by my mother in Hermitage, or Tivoli, or Riversally, or Pedmuta. But they're staying by their girlfriend. And this is a... Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome, caller.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I just rushed to join you.
Yes, man. Welcome.
I want to say this today that when we are counting down this. Oh, but before I say anything, permit me tonight at Mount Rule, see by Glenelg, the Honorable Prime Minister will be there. Bello and other members will be there to speak to the people of Mount Ridge, Mount Rule, and the surrounding. We'll bring in a very powerful message here tonight. Brother Pierre, this morning I called one of the radio programs, and I asked Grenadians to vote for Grenada. Forget whether you like NNP, whether you like Kit Mitchell, just you have no other choice but to vote for this government. And I have no apology in saying it because according to the statement what is being made by the opponent, it appears that this gentleman haven't got a clue of the governance of this country. As they have a talk say, where is it? I was on the platform in 1976 with Sir Eric Matthew Gary as the youngest man. Now it's been criticized, Sir Eric, in my presence and says, Sir Eric is a madman. He cut down the best cocoa field in St. Andrews to put a playing field. We have to convince Norrisville that is vision by the man. The man have a vision. Today is the best playing field around. This man want to associate Norrisville name, give him credence for progress back. I don't believe this man really know what's going on in Grenada. No other name should be mentioned with Sir Eric. And Brother Pierre, you have to agree with me because his knowledge of the facts. You have to agree with me. No other name should be mentioned with the late Sir Eric when it comes to progress back. Mad statement is being made by this man. He also say he got to remove VAT, which is the largest income earnings of this country. Replaced by what? But tonight I will make Grenadians know. He is planning to replace that VAT by some other tax. And I believe he's going to interfere with the social safety net of this country. I call on Imani, watch themselves, public assistance, and all this other safety net, the school allowance, uniform allowance, all these things, will be affected because where will he get the funding? I believe this man needs economists to guide him, although they say they have a lot of advisors. So Grenadians, talk to your children, talk to your grandchildren who have saved Grenada. We are already faced with a crisis, and we need experienced people. If you put the NDC there now, they will say they meet a crisis and they can't do nothing. So I'm warning Grenadians. I don't know if you agree with me. I thank you.
Well, generally on this program, we don't have to agree with one another. We don't have to agree with one another. But when you're talking about Progress Park, if you want to associate any other name, you might say Jukes and the boys from Paradise, who was on the road playing. And maybe they know Uncle Gary Car coming, and they're delaying the road. And he stop and find out what was the problem in the road. They say we do not have a playing field. And at that time, Jukes and them was probably local little leaders. And Uncle Gary say, okay, we will have to get a playing field for Paradise. So the only name that must be associated with Progress Park is Eric Matthew Geary. And the boys from Paradise, maybe Jukes and them. And yes, when Gary cut down that piece of cocoa in the flat, because of the topography of Grenada, most sheet of cocoa was on a gradient. People bawled for murder. We have a caller on the line, caller Punch.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir, caller.
Good afternoon. Well, as we speak on the politics about this time, the leadership is one of the things that have a lot of concern in the country as to who Grenadians should vote for when they go to vote on the 23rd of June. And there is a fraction that says one leader is too old to lead. And one that say you have a young one, he seems to be vibrant. Seems to, they don't really show. But as I will tell them and remind them, the leaders already arrived in the manner in which a lot of them believe you get a leader in. Or you found a leader in. Leader, well, giving you the history of Dr. Mitchell tells you how a leader comes about, because from 1984 to now, that has been Dr. Mitchell's political career. And his leadership comes about because of his political struggle. He hasn't sit there and to be a leader of a party and happen to be the leader of a party and say if I need to rule Grenada. That didn't happen. When Dr. Mitchell came in 1984, he was made the Minister of Works in Grenada. And up to this day, there is never, ever a better Minister of Works to perform in any other in Ministry of Works in Grenada since after Dr. Mitchell. Because I remember when he came into office, Grenada had electricity, Grenlec. And so unfortunate that the age of Grenlec at the time when Dr. Mitchell became the Minister of Works, it was really sad to know that a very small percentage of Grenada had electricity when we have an electricity plant that could have given more than Grenada electricity. It takes Dr. Mitchell to realize, well, that can happen. To have an electricity plant of that magnitude and Grenada of that size, it's supposed to have electricity all over. He takes the drive and he decided to go towards Grenada, length and breadth, put electricity there. And that was his drive in the office of Hubert Blaze as a leader. And when you look at the water system again, we say we can be surrounded by water and water in the land, water around the land, and still yet you have people drinking water all different corners of the country to get water in the home. Pipe has to be run. Let water go to the homes of the people. That was another initiative again of Dr. Mitchell. Those are the places and the things that really bring Dr. Mitchell to where he is up to this day now. He didn't just come and be a leader just they assume that he has money and bring him come in a party to lead him. Dr. Mitchell walked his way right through. The political struggle he had was so tough. He never looked at he have a family to protect, so when they call him and lambasting him, any kind of a story, he won't send his resignation because he have a family to protect him. He put that aside. He didn't call it all kind of scandal already. He put that aside, and his fight was to be what he is today. So I want to remind Grenadians, really and truly, there isn't nobody that prepared to be a leader to this day, up to this time, than Dr. Mitchell to lead Grenada. Because all the others, before the name call into something like a little conflict, where the farmers might not feel too happy about it, you see they run and they go and sign a paper. They resign from the post because they are the family to protect and they carry. Dr. Mitchell never look at those things on them because you want to be a leader. You know what a leader has to go through to be a leader? It's not no nice ice cream and cake business. It's a rough, tough battle. And that was Dr. Mitchell's history before he became a leader. And today he become a leader. Nobody says Dr. Mitchell has to rule forever. That is not the case. But he became a leader with a democratically proven system. You know. People vote for Dr. Mitchell to be a leader. You know. He didn't take a gun and put in the ear of anybody and say, vote for me. You know. Or he take over our government and become a leader. That was never the case. Dr. Mitchell's leadership became by the wish of the people. So many times he remained as a leader is because of the people of Grenada satisfied with his performance, they satisfied with what they see from him as a leader. Because there was others that came after him, and what they proved, they was way under the standard of Dr. Mitchell is very hard to offer to the Grenadian people as a leader. That is why today, up to this point, he's still as a leader, because if they was better than him, when he was moved away from 2008 as a leader, he would have never been back there now. But they failed miserably, and they couldn't find themselves performing of his standard. So that's why the Grenadian people come back to him. Up to this day, they still see him as the better leader. Despite what they say is age and whatever they're using to get people's mind to drive away from being a leader. It doesn't so easy to work with because Grenadian people know what is Kaiso. You can't give us any other music and tell us it's Kaiso because we know what is Kaiso. How about good, boss?
Yes, Scholar, thank you, Scholar. And I think it's an important point for us to understand that the democratic system in Grenada is alive and well. And from 1984, we have had election that was free and fair and free from fear. Yes, Scholar, punch. Yes, Scholar. You there? Well, you have to give us a try and try again because we want to hear your voice. We want to hear your response. Scholar, you there?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you hear me?
Go right ahead.
Right. I want to address three issues. One, I heard Mr. Dickens say NMP is a one-manism party and we have no plans for continuity. Now, I want to say to Mr. Dickens, just like how we dropped from the sky, yeah, and today he is the leader of the NDC, right? The same way someone may drop from the sky in the NMP or emerge from the party itself, because over the years, what I have seen Dr. Mitchell doing is grooming people and giving people the experience to manage, right? So that is one. So, and in fact, NDC have no leadership continuity strategy because in the last couple of years, they changed about how much leader, from Tillman Thomas to Nazimburg to Franca Bonadine to Andal to Persuader and whatever. So, right, that is point number one. Second point, I listened to Mr. Dickens very well Sunday. I listened to him, his whole speech. Up to now, I have not heard he address any substantial issue, in fact, issue in relation to what kind of direct foreign investment and investors the NDC could attract. I just was speaking to our NDC man in Grenville, asking that question, and he tell me that is for them to keep internally, right? And the last issue I want to address is that I want to make the NDC know that in this politics, it's not about hatred. It's about love, communication, and understanding one another, respecting others' views, right? And I want them to be less violent and less aggressive and let's deal with the issues, right? And I want to send out a message to the people of St. David. Yes, you may like Deacon. I understand some of you may like him. And yes, the point I really want to make, I listened I watched the virtual vote last night, which they always show the leading and they still can't capture a seat. And some people was furious because they say when they hear the word experience, what is experience and what. But let me tell the people and the Grenadian people and the NDC supporters, experience is a prerequisite to govern a country. Because a country is like a patient on a bed. And if a child now become a doctor, like we have young ones who go through the program and they become doctors today, and a man come on an operation table, they will not put her to operate on that person. They will put a senior doctor with experience. So experience is a prerequisite to govern a nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. It's important that it's sinking in the head of all Grenadians that our electoral process in Grenada is free, it is fair, and it is free from fear. All who win election in Grenada win. All who lose, lost. Why I say that? irrespective of the barrage of legal mines that is in Grenada. From 1984, no one has challenged the electoral process. We must give the electoral process in Grenada a thumbs up. The electoral process is free. The list that goes out now, you have 7 days to make your queries. After the official list come out, the best thing to do is to wait till after election to take issue with it again. You could make your queries now and make certain, because of the credibility of the electoral process, they will entertain your queries and examine them and see if you have any substance. The system in Grenada is good. Government, I understand, have already invited CARICOM and the OAS. We have done that all the time. The system is good. Each political party would put their representative in each polling station, and they choose representative that is experienced. They don't look for jokers there. Well-trained and experienced representative, so they will not be intimidated by the process and the presiding officer. We have a good system going. We have one of the best electoral system in the Caribbean. We must say that loud and clear. So there is no doubt, there is no need for us to be unduly worried, although we must have hawk eyes in watching a good system. And it's important for us to understand that. One sister on Facebook wanted to know how much political parties we have running. I think we have the NNP and the NDC running 15 candidates. The Grenada United Labour Party, they're running 4 candidates. And we have another party, IFP, I think, that are running 2 candidates and some GRP. And so we have about 5 different political parties, plus we have an independent, I think. So the two, in Grenada, in all fairness, the biggest issue is between the NNP and the NDC. And the other political parties, well, I guess they're there to ensure that the political process is as good as we claim it is. We must know the system. Don't let little issues on Facebook and the radio station unruffle you. Radio personalities must know the system, and they must see it as part of their responsibility to explain the system to the public so that we would better understand it. Children in secondary school must know the process. We must know it. This is our democracy. We're not in other countries that you have an excessive violence and problem. We have peace reign in Grenada, and being very informed about the process is going to ensure the longevity of the process. Caller Punch. Yes, Caller Punch.
Pierre.
Go.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, brother.
And to the listening public, straight to the point. I listen to some criticism made by elements of the opposers. They always say that NNP do nothing government. And all they're talking about is building factories. During the GOLP administration, it had 10 soap and 1 sugar straight. Sugar right here. And other things. They will go get rid of all that. All police stations will be well equipped with long base Land high power, all police stations had high power diesel generators. The generators was removed and given to RMC, MDC and JM to private homes. And JM used to make nectar, but Grenadian did not use to buy nectar.
mango juice. What he used to sell was Trinidad orange juice. I know that. It's that time person used to ask for it. I used to drive a Selborne. The question is, Grenada ready for factory? The government factory in Ball well equipped. Grenadians still live in and go to stores to purchase kite, paper, clothes. They are in clothes and all. Grenada do not ready for factories as yet. NDC should build factories. And that time they will control the people, invest the seat with all their money, criticizing and talking bone come about some of these NDC and them were talking about this and that. Their own wife in the business and children, some of them have shop. The wife cannot go beyond counter. I know that they afraid their own shadow. Grenadians have to be careful who they select in on the 23rd of June. When this businessman die, the press closed. Supporters of the NNP is labeled as hungry, greedy, lazy, idle and nasty. Beggars and thieves on the 23rd of June. Vote wisely and go early and vote to support the NNP candidate. I hear they talking about leaders. We have leaders. The NNP will never die. We have Miss Pierre. We have Brother Peter, David. We got leaders. We have Mr. the man in Guam. What is leaders? We have Miss Modest. Leaders, we have Northern Peak. On the 20th, and keep out the problem on the 23rd. Make sure you select the NNP candidate. Our pampers here, I was not aware of giving them to put on.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Sir Pierre.
Yes, my brother, thank you. And going on Facebook, somebody say, I heard Miss Joseph do 100 meters yesterday in St. John's. Well, I think Miss Joseph is supposed to be a very fit person. She is involved, I think, in karate. And that is good. I think Dr. Mitchell has been setting an example in the Caribbean. You know. He has been setting an example in the Caribbean that leaders must lead by example. And because the question of dietary disease is so problematic, this is why I believe Dr. Mitchell is so regimental in his exercise. I just say doing the exercise wine, even when he dancing, he exercising, and encouraging people to exercise. Yes, Color Punch.
Yeah, after. I was thinking this morning about the factories that we speak about all the time. During the revolution, we had much factories, right? Yeah? And something that came up is that I forgot that we had to have factories produce those nectars and so forth juices because the revolution was under embargo by the United States. And so we had to get food to feed the PRA and the Cubans who were here. The factories that were in operations was mainly to provide food for the PRA and the Cuban soldiers who were here. The factory did not produce for export because we couldn't export anything during that time. And so if you could tell me the amount of monies that we made from the factories and exporting of the nectars and the juices and so forth, I will believe you. But I think I'm right to say that they were not producing for export, but mainly for local in the PRA and those the Cubans who were here protecting us. The Cubans were working in different areas, and the food that was produced in the factories was mainly to feed them. Grenadian even now still not using those things. But let me just quickly say, the amount of fruits we have here does not allow us, take for instance mango, does not allow us to eat enough mangoes and still have enough to run a factory, satisfactorily to make income, foreign exchange, so to speak.
Yeah.
From no factory at all in
Yeah.
Canada, we'll be able to, viably so, to produce in order to make foreign exchange or even income to sustain itself in Grenada, because we do not have enough fruits or so on the island. I don't believe that.
Yes, caller. Thank you.
You have fruits for 6 months and then that's it.
Thank you, caller. And the last point the caller made is a powerful point. Sorry, I didn't make it first. You know, we have a few mango by the roadside, and every time people pass and see mango on the ground talking about factory, cut down this mango tree on them, or cut them in half, because they're causing injury and damage to windscreens in vehicle. We don't have a 5-acre, 10-acre plot of mango. Yes, the revolution experimented with the cottage industry. The correct word perhaps would be cottage industry, although we say factory. And nothing was wrong with that. Because we have to continue to encourage Grenadians to strengthen the cottage industry, to eat more of the things you could grow. So we must learn from Karakou to grind green corn and make bakes. We like bakes. We must also take the habit to eat more corn flour. If we roll it in the balls, it might even be more marketable. We must learn to consume more vegetables rather than rice and macaroni pie. So the revolution idea about encouraging nectar was good. It was uneconomical. But in a revolution, the economics was not the issue. Because you used to pay 95 cents from the tin from Trinidad and $3.40, I think, from the Grenadian tin. So it was not uneconomical, but the initiative was good. The idea was good. And remember, the revolution speak about central planning. We had a similar issue in Guyana in cooperative socialism. It didn't work. In Jamaica, we had democratic socialism. And in Grenada was experimenting with Marxist-Leninist socialism. So nothing was wrong with the initiative in the revolution and the idea. And now what you want is the private sector to do these things, not government. Because you're a boss, they won't produce. It is more productivity in government is a greater challenge, particularly to make foodstuff and other edibles. It is better it go into the hands of the private hands. That is why you provide loans for people to take the initiative and open business. This is why we must encourage our farmers to eat more food from the land. When they go in the restaurant asking for pie, rice, I want rice, I want macaroni, I want lasagna, I want pie. Farmers ain't getting fat. Instead of eating the vegetables that they produce, they want pie. And then they're asking for market. Where are you going to get the market if you don't consume the product? Remember, economy of scale. We're not Guyana. We cannot produce in large quantities. We have market for soursop. Grenada is the only country in the region that can produce, export fresh soursop on the U.S. market. That is a market we must go after hungrily. Instead of that, we're planting bamboo, balijay, and bocano. Instead of that, a number of people who speaking the most about agriculture Some of them family have land abandoned. Instead of that, some of our university graduates don't want to go and work the land. But if you hear them talk about agriculture. So we have to change our eating habits. I think it was in Antigua many, many years ago. They did a survey. And the area in that country that was looking at American television, all the food stuff in the supermarket was from what was advertised on American television. Some Antiguans from St. Croix, Nevis, and even Grenadians, when they're women pregnant, they go and make a child in the States. We have to be more proud of our country. We tearing down Grenada too much. We are attacking the people in the lower income group too much. We have to remember we are one Grenada. We are a small country, a small population. We have to seek the interests of all Grenadians. I noticed one of the lawyers encouraging to partition a parish. He won the parish partition from Grenada. He don't care if they align with New Zealand and Australia. I don't know what Grenada do this lawyer. I don't know what Grenada do this lawyer. We part of CARICOM. We have to work together. And remember, we are a small country. So we have economy and scale. So that caller was right. We don't have citrus here and mango here to make no big factory. Cocoa Association have a factory in Victoria somewhere that could make chocolate. I don't think 20% capacity is used to make the chocolate. Somebody say if they have to use that factory, they might have to import cocoa. Because we are a small country. So we look for niche markets. CMOS. We could develop the CMOS industry because we have a lot of Grenadians in the diaspora. And CMOS is said to be aphrodisiac. So we could encourage our people to consume more CMOS. We cannot have just saying thing, mouth open, word jump out. We have to stop that. We have to look for things that we could practicalize. We have a CMOS industry that could grow because for the first time, we farm in CMOS. We could strengthen that industry, but we must encourage more Grenadians to use CMOS instead of some of the imported issues that we have. And the war in Ukraine and Russia is a good opportunity to force us to be more realistic. Force us to be more realistic and use some of the products more. Who said that the barbecue man in Grenada cannot barbecue blogger to accompany the barbecue instead of bread? Or plantain instead of bread? What would happen? More farmers would be able to sell their product. We're supposed to be able to get pudding in any supermarket. This is attitudinal change. So when government come up and make it easier for venture capital by providing loans for contract workers, e-money. And if that is successful, the government will be indirectly forcing the banks and the financial institutions to do the same. So people can open little businesses. That is realistic and practical. But saying open factory sounds very romantic. People go get work if you open factories. That is just romantic, political romantic expressions. It is unrealistic. And our people must start to look for that. When our children go to national college and they get degrees in business and economics, they must learn to go back home and start to make fudge, make cheap, do coconut balls, and use some of the local product and start businesses. Most of the billionaires in the world were not rich people, and they started with a small sum of money. Between $500 to $5,000 could start a lot of cottage industry business in Grenada. But our mentality and attitude is one that when we get an education, we believe we're in a social class. And we have unrealistic politicians with some fantastic expressions that is extremely unrealistic. And you could give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. A gentleman said the man was speaking about Green Lake in 1984 and not much people had electricity. What's about telephone? You can count on your fingers the amount of people that had a phone. And that's an important fact. A lot of young people in the country now. So they don't know what went on before. And some of them not very interested. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
So they don't know what went on before. And some of them not very interested. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. So they don't know what went on before. And some of them not...
Yes, caller. Yes. So, you know, I think, and a lot of time, I think a lot of emphasis, and sometimes I'm not seeing it in the politics. And I guess after the political parties would have, the election result would have come out on the 23rd, 24th, maybe we may take a different approach to zeroing on what is practical and what is realistic, and to make maximum use of it. The individuals speak about electricity. And I think it is important for us to note that in Grenada today, electricity, telephone, water, and internet has a 90% reach with the public. And I'm being conservative when I say 90%. And in the region, we are second to none. We are comparable with the best, and we're better than most. Children going to school today cannot say they don't have electricity to do their homework. Or they don't have telephone, they forget the homework. They have telephone, they could call a friend. Or they don't have water in the pipe. This is what the environment in which our children are now. And our schools are better, the physical structure for our schools are better than any other time in our history. Our teachers are better educated, better trained, and better paid than any other time in our history. Government spend 11%, 10 or 11% of their GDP on education, better than most countries in the world. Our teacher to children ratio is about 1 to 15. Some would say 1 to 20. Better than some of the big developed countries. We have a caller on the line, caller Punch.
Yeah, good day, brother. How are you
Yes,
doing?
my brother.
Yeah, I want to take this opportunity to invite everybody from the Northwest constituency to buy land tomorrow evening at maybe 6:30 to a village meeting there. The Honorable Delma Thomas will be up there. You understand? And all byland people are invited. All people all throughout the constituency are invited. Let us come and hear what plans the lady have for the continuation of the constituency. All are invited. Let us make a special effort to be there. Thank you very much, man.
Yes, my brother. So this is the period of time when the politicians are having some big meetings, but both sides also having the small meetings when the reaction or the interaction with the people is much greater. The interaction with the people is much greater, and those meetings are important. And I like to provoke discussion, because I believe people must discuss the politics in their home and discuss which team you believe is better poised to continue the development of the country. And what is it you want to see in your community? A lot of time I ask this question and I struggle to get an answer. What is it you want to see in your community? Now, if you don't know what you want, sometimes you already have it and you don't know. And instead, you're angry with other people for what they want. Some people say, what we want in the community is road. We want the road in the background to fix. So the politician react to that. We have a caller on the line, and caller might be with last caller. Yes, caller. Yeah, yes. What is happening in some people must know what they want. So I always challenge people. What is it you want? Sometimes you have the answers for what you want. If you want your children to be properly educated, I say to you, you got to start early. From about 3-5 years. After 12 years, that child only needs assistance to guide them around. Our country in Grenada today, there is no child, no parent, no politician, none could say that a child cannot go to school because they don't have the basic requirement. You could not have said that decades ago. But in Grenada today, so children going to school today should succeed, you know. And I think these things are important for parents to understand. We can't be just making excuse for excuse sake. We must know what we want, what is available, what is in place. This is important. And sometimes we could hold discussion with our neighbors, with our community. And if we tell them what we want, there are some things that might be existing that you don't know. There are programs that you can get financial assistance. You can get involved in training. And particularly if one of your major interests is to make certain your child has a good education. Your child is multi-skilled, multi-talented, and endowed with a characteristic that gives them competitiveness on the job market. It's available in Grenada. There is no excuse. And I always like to challenge people, any parent, any politician, anybody, to prove that that is not so. You know, if I get new information, I change in my mind. We're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1 for another program of On Target. We always welcome your call, and we try to read some of the posting on Facebook. But you could also, if you want us to answer a particular question, you could write it, and next time you could post it, and next time we'll try. Thank you very much.